Welcome back. I'm Evan Brand, certified functional medicine practitioner. I'm talking with you today about adrenal fatigue recovery signs and symptoms. I've had several patients ask me, Evan, how do I know that I'm actually making progress with my program? Typically, what I'm going to do is an adrenal profile stress test, which I've talked about on my podcast and in other videos. But also, we're typically going to do a 6-month retest, and we're going to look and we're going to see that the levels are generally back in place based on the custom program that I designed for people. So in between those 6 months, here are 4 main things to look for and make sure that you're actually making progress in your recovery. There may be other symptoms that improve, but these are some of the top 4 I see. So 1, morning energy. So typically when we're talking about people with adrenal fatigue, we're typically going to see a low cortisol measure. So if we're looking here, this is our time, this is our cortisol. We want to be here, somewhere in between here. And a lot of people are flatlined. Maybe they'll pop into rhythm there, maybe they'll pop into the nighttime, and typically this is going to be the picture. This is something, if there's low DHEA and low cortisol, this is going to be a stage 3 adrenal fatigue. Now, typically people are going to feel pretty tired when they wake up. They may be dependent on coffee or other stimulants to get going. So this is going to improve. So what we're doing, generally the program is going to be to boost this morning level back up. So if we can get someone back into rhythm here in the morning, the day is going to go a lot smoother. We're going to pop them back into a healthy adrenal rhythm. So typically the morning energy is something that's going to elevate. So depending on what your practitioner has you on in terms of supplements, that's something to look forward to, is your mornings are going to be able to pop out of bed a little bit easier. So number 2, less hypoglycemia. So it's very common for people to have a couple things, including hypoglycemia. Sometimes you may hear it called reactive hypoglycemia, where your blood sugar is dropping pretty rapidly after meals. So you may be eating every 2 to 3 hours, maybe every 4 hours, depending on how your blood sugar stability actually is. We expect that to improve. So you're going to be less hypoglycemic. So I want you to be able to go eventually about 4 to 5 hours in between meals. Now, myself personally, when I'm working on myself and my adrenals, I'm going to be in about the 3 to 4 hour range. And that's fine too. So with that less hypoglycemia, another thing that I could have actually added to this is less blood pressure drops. So if you go from a lying to a sitting or a sitting to a standing position, it's called orthostatic hypertension. It's due to the electrolytes and other imbalances that happen in a state of chronic stress or adrenal fatigue. When you go from lying to sitting or sitting to standing and you get lightheaded, I expect that symptom to improve as well. So if you are someone who stands up and I feel like I'm going to pass out, that should get better if you are on an adrenal program that actually works. There's a lot of people talking about adrenal fatigue. I won't call anybody out or their programs or anything, but I've looked into some of the recommendations, and sometimes they're just too general, and people aren't getting better, and so they feel like they're at the end of the rope because they've been to the naturopath or whoever, or the integrative doctor, and they get thrown on a hormone replacement cream or something like that. And that's something I want to avoid for several reasons that I may cover in another video. So number 3, sex drive. Hopefully sex drive is going to go up. Sex drive is commonly down in people because, well, let's face it, reproduction is a luxury when you're getting chased by a bear or a lion. Even if your nervous system thinks that it's a bear and it's really just an email or a cell phone notification, that sex drive is typically going to drop. Also, all of your hormones, including testosterone and estrogen and the other hormones that get produced along with DHEA, those are going to get diverted in a process called the pregnenolone steal over to cortisol. And typically that process, it's almost like a power plant, if you will. Instead of diverting all of the energy to cortisol, everything's going to be getting diverted. So DHEA, etc., everything's going to go to make more cortisol. Eventually, as the adrenals get better, we're going to be shifting the arrows back, and we're going to be turning on the other hormones again. So sex drive can and should go back up. Lastly, cognitive function. So brain fog is really common. It's many different causes. Sometimes there's a gut issue prevalent as well, or present as well. If it's an infection, a parasite, other things that are basically stealing your amino acids, brain fog is going to be common. And so that's something that I hope for you to be noticing, improving as you are on your adrenal program. Now, if you are working with the practitioner and they're just specifically focusing on adrenals, make sure they take a look at the gut. If you are taking a look at the gut and you've not run organic acids and you're not looking at detoxification and methylation, which are two other important factors to weigh into your brain health, make sure that those do get factored in, and make sure you are working with somebody that's actually addressing your brain health as well. So something that I do, and some of the products that I formulated are specifically for brain health and are specifically for supporting this. So whether we're talking about huperzine, whether we're talking about wild blueberry complex, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylcholine, etc., these different brain supporting herbs and botanicals can be really helpful to alleviate the symptoms of brain fog while you're waiting for those adrenals to come back online. So this is Evan Brand signing out. If you'd like to schedule a 15-minute free consult with myself, see if we're a good fit for each other, you're welcome to click on screen or click below, and I'd be happy to help you out. Make sure you also get my free stress solutions book, which ties into this whole adrenal picture, and I talk about specific supplementation and things like that in that book. You can get that by clicking below or on screen as well. All right, I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.